I think I got off the stream too soon, child. Um, Listen, this is part 2 of my JayZ Accuser Admits to Inconsistencies. I just saw when I looked back through Pacer to see if there was any updates. I see that JayZ's lawyer has filed a letter to the court. So let's read this particular letter really, really quick. And that's all I'm going to be doing. And then we will get on out of here, child. Let me share my screen. I think this is one. Yes. All right. Y'all see it on the screen? Let me see. Let me see. Hmm. So I'll make it bigger so everybody can see. All right. So this was filed today, which is December 13th. It's to the Honorable Annalise Torres, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, United States Court, where they're at. And this is regarding Jane Doe versus Sean Combs. Gives the case number. It says, Dear Honorable Judge Torres, we write to the court on behalf of our client, Sean Corder, on a matter of extraordinary and grave importance for the integrity of the proceedings in the above captioned case. Today at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, NBC News reported on an interview that its reporters conducted with the anonymous plaintiff in this case. The interview outlines plaintiff's allegations for what they are, a sham. Basic facts in her narrative, the who, what, when, and where, are wrong. She claims her father picked her up after the assault. Her own father denies that ever happened. She claims she spoke with Benji Madden at the party that night, but he was on tour in the Midwest at the time, forcing her to admit, quote, I have made some mistakes. I may have made a mistake in identifying, end quote. She claims the assault took place at an after party at Mr. Combs' home, but photos that night show Mr. Combs and Mr. Curtis at Lotus nightclub for the after party. When pressed, the plaintiff admitted she was guessing about the key details, including the time it took to reach the venue. She admits she has no single corroborating witness over the last 24 years. These stunning revelations make clear that the complaint filed by the plaintiff's attorney, Anthony Busby, therefore have no factual basis whatsoever. Even Mr. Busby is walking back the complaint he put his name to, excusing these glaring inconsistencies by pointing the finger at the case being referred by another firm who allegedly vetted the story before sending to them. The heinous allegations against Mr. Carter are patently false. The complaint filed by plaintiff's attorney Anthony Busby therefore has no factual basis whatsoever. The heinous allegations against Mr. Carter are patently false. In light of those development, it is now clear that Mr. Busby signed the complaints and other filings in this case in violation of Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11. Under that rule, an attorney who signs a document assumes an affirmation duty to conduct a reasonable inquiry into the facts and the law before filing. The attorney's signature denotes merit in the filing and sends a message to the district court that this document is to be taken seriously. Plaintiffs may not file a complaint in this court without having made reasonable investigation of facts. And you remember I talked to you all in the last stream. Hey, he said that he wasn't putting forth anything until after he has made all the careful vetting processes. But let's continue. In addition, attorney who learned after filing a complaint that the factual assertions are false must immediately withdraw the claims. And they cite see City of Yonkers versus Otis Elevators. A lawyer shall not bring or defend a proceeding or assert or controvert an issue therein unless there is a basis in law and fact for doing so that is not frivolous. Given today's revelation, Mr. Busby almost certainly failed to undertake a reasonable inquiry into the facts before filing the complaint. He should have never brought the claims. At minimum, he should withdraw them now. Allowing these claims to remain pending, even in a moment longer, not only harms Mr. Carter, his family, his businesses, his employees, and his legacy, it also impairs the integrity of the judicial system, thwarts the pursuit of justice, and silences the voices of true victims. Furthermore, it appears that Mr. Busby has attempted to circumvent the authority of this court to enforce Rule 11 and associated obligations by declining to seek admission to this court before signing pleadings and other documents. Mr. Busby is not licensed to practice law in this court, and he has not sought, let alone obtained, admission pro hoc vice. Yet, in the nearly 8 weeks since he initiated this proceeding, Mr. Busby has filed a complaint in this matter that was signed solely by him using an S signature, signed the amendment complaint alongside other counsel that added Mr. Carter as a defendant, and notice a motion for the plaintiff to proceed anonymously, accompanied by a supporting brief and a declaration, once again signed only by him. Most recently, on December 10, 2024, Mr. Busby filed a letter, which he also signed alone. Mr. Busby's failure to obtain admission to the bar of this court is a transparent attempt to circumvent the basic requirements of Rule 11 and the rules of professional conduct. Admission subjects an attorney to the jurisdiction of the court and to sanctions for signing pleadings that are not grounded in the fact and the law. Mr. Busby thus appears to have strategically declined to seek admission in order to avoid sanctions for a complaint that he knew had no factual basis. Given these facts, Mr. Carter intends to file immediately a motion to strike the First Amendment complaint under Rules 11C2 and 12F. He respectfully requests that the court shorten the filing deadline for that motion from 21 days to 1 day from the date of service in light of today's stunning public disclosures and severe ongoing harm to Mr. Carter's reputation. Submitted by Quinn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan LLP, and signed by Alex Spiro. Now, they referenced Exhibit A. They referenced the article that I had just read, the NBC News article, and they attached it as Exhibit A. And so this is the article, and it rundowns here the ladies that wrote the article. I read their names, and so I didn't go back to the court documents to see, and then I saw and something said go look at it, and I did, and I saw that they had filed a letter on that thing. So I said I had to come back to let y'all know that this was going on. He was always shady to me. He was the same man that went after Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I'm starting to realize that, because he had a whole lot of cases. Wasn't that the football player who supposedly had exposed himself to like the physical therapist and the masseuses and stuff like that? Hey, Torian, my bad. Where am I? Good evening. You're good. You're good. I just came back here impromptu because I had to come back because I had literally just finished a live, and I saw that, I didn't go back and check the court filings to see if there was anything filed, because this is a new revelation with NBC. I saw the NBC article before I went there, so I had to come back and read that to put that into the information. The whole time, the reason they went after Deshaun is because he wanted out of that contract he was locked in. Wow. Y'all hit that like button. That helps with my engagement. What are y'all thinking about this? Do you think, because again, shout out to Blue, because we did an impromptu live a few days ago, and we were pulling out inconsistencies in this VMA, and then he showed me the X thread where the one of Beyonce's stans had gone through and talked about where these people were partying at the time and how the initial filing was different from the amended filing. And so now we have, right before the court ended today, well, they filed it. It looks, blah, 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 blah. They have filed today. JayZ's lawyer Alex Spiro has filed the NBC article noting that there were inconsistencies, because I don't know how she's going to combat her father saying that he didn't pick her up. And I don't, like I said, they didn't add in there that she lived in Rochester, New York at the time. They made it seem like she was a Manhattanite or lived in one of the five or six boroughs in New York. But now it's 5.5 hours. Key people who she said she talked to were not physically there. I'm not saying that anything did not happen to her, but it's not looking like the initial and the secondary and the third time that anybody has interviewed her. Her stories has changed. Thank you so much, Serenity. Pam, I was born in Rochester. There's no way she got out a window, drove 5 to 6 hours, and then figured out how to get around. Because when I saw that 5 hours, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. So that means you had to have left. The VMA started like 8 o'clock that night. You had to have left. You had to have left way before you even went back home. You had to have left about 1 or 2 o'clock, and then discounting the traffic, because I know, I lived in New Jersey for a little minute. That New York traffic was never any joke. Sometimes it was just best to walk those 5 or 6 blocks or 10 blocks than to try to weave through it in traffic. I looked back through and I pulled up the 2000 VMA pre-show red carpet event. So it will be interesting if anybody's going to pull that up, because it's here on YouTube. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody pulls that up and looks in that audience to see if anybody is there. Because I think one of the things that's different, that starting in the probably 98, 99 going into 2000, is that people had blogs at that time. And people were taking pictures. I'm quite sure Getty Images and all those little different places, all those photographers at the time, I'm quite sure that they can pull up those images to see who was where at what time. I'm quite sure that they can pull up pictures from paparazzi if they put an all call out to these people who took pictures here, where, and where were people at certain times. Because you probably would not have seen them within the venue, but there probably was a way that you clocked whether somebody went in and what time they left. Now, anything after they left, you can't clock it, but definitely you can clock to see where they were. 6 hours. My grown children still live there. If you take the bus, it's about 6 to 7 hours because of the stops. My college friend and I used to go to New York for the weekend. We had to coordinate Trailways or Amtrak. And you're talking about that, and you were a college student. Someone who's 13 who had someone to drive them there. So that tells me whoever that person was that drove you there had to be at the least, at the least 16. And I'm old. Me at 16, I was driving around the city. I didn't start doing long distance, driving places for more than 2 to 3 hours until I was like 18, 19 years old. In college, yeah, I was in college. Miss. Miss. All right, people. That's all I got for this today, honey. I just had to come back on here to give y'all that information. So the attorneys, JayZ's attorneys, read the new NBC article just like we read the NBC article, and they put in a motion to the court, a letter to the court, asking for, basically asking him to be removed from this case or have this case dismissed because of the inconsistencies. And the biggest thing I think that within that letter that I want to really just talk about really quick, let's go back up, was the fact that they mentioned in here, like I mentioned in my last stream, they did not vet. They're saying that some other law firm vetted what this young lady said, and they did not vet. Busby's the attorney. I think they did not vet this, and that makes no sense to me. A mess. A mess. Right. That's the feel. That is the feel that I'm getting. And you think because he has filed, good Lord, he has filed probably 15, 20 cases. He has filed so many cases. So there's no way in the world you're going to make me believe that he's not. And if two cases, again, I'm calling this case the VMA case, and I'm calling the other case Hampton in the car with the guy who was on CNN yesterday or the day before yesterday. He's Hampton in the car, and this case right here is VMA's. Both of these two cases have inconsistencies, glaring inconsistencies. Again, don't mishear me. I don't know what happened or didn't happen. And I am not willing to tell you that, oh, I believe or I disbelieve. I'm not telling you anything. I can only report what's being told to me. And there's some inconsistencies, major inconsistencies, because now if your daddy didn't pick you up, how did you get back home? Who picked you up? Was it the same person that took you down there? And I think in that article, they're saying that person is deceased. And again, JayZ has a lot of different things, questionable things that have been going on for many years, alleged, because there's nothing that has been proven, but he has had some questionable partnerships that he is having to contend. And this is how this stuff is able to come out. It seemed like all of a sudden when he decided to get married to JayZ, JayZ getting married to JayZ. When he married Beyonce, when was that? 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. Anything that happened prior to that, he was making sure that things were being cleaned up. If there were anything out there, I will say this. But again, he puts up a lot of questions because there was some talk about him and Foxy Brown. There were talks about him and Aaliyah. There were talks about him being with JayZ. I mean, not JayZ, being with Beyonce earlier than what that was. Because I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, how people were trying to age Beyonce up higher than what she was. And I don't know if that was in conjunction with the fact when people actually realized how old JayZ was. because he presented to be younger. JayZ presented to be younger. But if you've been a JayZ fan, because my brother is a JayZ fan, if you've been around and seen JayZ, JayZ's been around a long time. If you didn't know that, you would really honestly think that JayZ would be in his 40s instead of being in his 50s as he is. But again, all right, people, I'm gone for real. Y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all, please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you cannot stand that I'm over here making these videos. Thank you all for coming in and making the live lively by asking questions and putting things up. I really do appreciate it. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. Y'all, as always, bye bye. This is a mess.